Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Dark Knight's Metal Batman with battle damage. This is a Target exclusive figure. Now, when I first found out they were going to be revisiting the Dark Knight's Metal Batman, I was a little disappointed, as it's just more of the same, nothing really new. This figure here has blood painted on top of his battle damage where the scratches are, and he also has purple on the inside of the cape. This is how the first figure should have been. I personally would love to get this body without the battle damage, but that would require some new sculpting. So let's take a look at the packaging here. As you can see, he comes with a display stand, collector's card, and then 2 battle axes. Top of the package, you can see 22 moving parts. McFarlane Toys got the Spawn logo here, ages 12 plus. DC Multiverse Batman with battle damage. One side of the package, Batman with battle damage, Dark Knight's Metal. Other side, Batman with battle damage. At the bottom, a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode in case that helps anybody. And at the back, here's this Batman posed up, and here are a bunch of other new McFarlane DC Multiverse figures you should track down. So with no further ado, let's open them up. And of course, I did get 2 of these figures, one to open and enjoy, and one to keep unopened in my complete 6 and 7 inch unopened Batman action figure collection. And here he is next to the original Merciless Build-A-Figure Dark Knight Metal Batman. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He does come with a display stand, a collector's card, and then 2 battle axes or hatchets. But before we take a look at the accessories, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is the Dark Knight's Metal Batman, and this is the battle damage variation. This is a Target exclusive figure. The original figure was also battle damaged, but they did a much worse job painting his damage and showing it off. This guy honestly seems to be exactly what the first figure was supposed to be, just done right. This is Batman for the Rebirth comics, specifically from Dark Knight's Metal. So let's take a look at him. Starting with his head here. Wasn't super fond of the head sculpt in the original. Just looks a little bit derpy. The eyes, the mouth. Not fond of the articulation either. It only moves at the base of the neck. You don't get that typical top of the neck, bottom of the head articulation, and you'll never be able to head swap this guy with another Batman. He does have some blood coming out of his mouth. Pretty nice little detail there. Going further down, he's got the Rebirth costume. Purple inside the cape. That is different on this figure. The other one did not have that, and I think he should have. All this guy's cuts are painted in red. This is a bloodied, beat-up Batman. Well, not all the cuts. There's some here and some on the bat symbol here. I've seen some really cool customs of the original where they did some similar stuff here. I don't know if McFarlane saw those and said, man, that looks really good. We should have done that from the get-go. His vest is here under his torso. Looks really nice. His belt looks pretty good. It's also got some damaged stuff on it. The cape looks fantastic, all tattered up, these holes in it. That is different from the original release. So there's at least one bit of new sculpt here. As you can see, more battle damage. I like that a lot. Double jointed knees, double jointed elbows. Like I said before, this is how they should have done the first one. Luckily they got it right this time. This figure is a battle damage version of the Dark Knight's Metal Batman, and I would love for them to make a clean version. The original one had the same scratches and scrapes, they just weren't painted. I'd love to get one, the same figure here, just with all the scrapes gone and the suit being completely smooth and new. And just a closer look at the figure's head sculpt and face. I found it's split pretty 50-50. Either you hate this guy's head or you love it. I'm in the in-between category myself. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start with the boring stuff. He comes with his display stand, typical McFarlane stand, black perfect circle, it says DC at the bottom. It's got 1 peg for the peg holes on his feet. It's very thin, very basic. Now let's look at his collector's card. As you can see, here's the figure posed up. He's standing there with his 2 axes. Batman with battle damage from the Dark Knight's Metal. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. And here's his collector's card, next to the original Dark Knight's Metal Batman's collector's card. Now let's look at his battle axes. I could be wrong, but what I recall from the other figure, these weren't actually used in the comic, just on the cover. Please correct me if that's not accurate. Now, these axes are different. As you can see on the blade, there's all kind of damage and scratches. It's been through some stuff. We've got a wooden handle below. Nice job simulating the wood. Then there's a little bit of a wrap around there. Nice sculpting detail. The other axe, it is different, but pretty similar. And one cool thing about these axes, if you put them on top of each other, sort of overlapping, they do make the bat symbol. And these two axes are 100% identical to the two axes that came with the original Dark Knight's Metal Batman. Here's Batman holding these two axes. I wanted to check out this new battle damage Batman next to the original Dark Knight's Metal Batman to see if there are any sculpting differences, anything beyond simply some paint changes. So let's take a look at them. Start with their heads here. Identical sculpt, just got the blood here. Going further down, a little bit of blood here and here. Everything else looks to be exactly the same. You can see he has the same sort of cuts and gashes. They're just not painted. Even in his little torso, you can see the scratches here. Going further down, just a little bit of blood on the side here. It's not painted like that here. Now the cape is considerably different. This one here is painted purple on the inside. This one is black on the inside, and it was definitely purple in the comics. Like I said before, this is how the figure should have been from the get-go. Now the biggest difference is the cape is completely tattered up. It looks really, really cool on this new one. So I'm happy to have both options. A little more diversity in the action figures. And looking at his collector's card, this is from the original Dark Knight's Metal Batman. This was the image and the source material they were working with. You can see he's got purple on the inside of the cape. It's tattered up. He's got blood on him. This new figure is definitely the way the first one should have come out. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's sitting at about 7.4 inches tall, which is going to translate to a hair under 19 centimeters. And if you go to the top of the ears, about 7.5 inches tall. Now let's check out his articulation. Start with his head here. Now it's a unique set of articulation. It's only at the base of the neck, not the top of the neck, bottom of the head like usual. Can rotate around, can look forward, up, really not too much, but down a pretty good amount. Now you're not going to be able to head swell this guy with any other figures, as it's done in a very unique style. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out more than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest area, just increasing the range of motion here. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows below that. His wrist here, it can rotate and it's going to be hinged as well. Double ball joints in his torso, can rotate around, go forward and back. Another one in his waist, rotate around, go forward and back, giving him a very wide range of motion in his torso. Legs go about this far, not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. Rotation is almost non-existent. Then go forward, about that far, back, not too much. Double jointed knees below that. Then his ankle here goes forward and back, can rotate, can tilt and rock, and he's got toe articulation. Here's Batman taking down a bunch of thugs in a Gotham street scene. And then, here's the aftermath. Battle damage Batman. Now let's check him out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is next to the original Dark Knight's Metal Batman figure. I'm not going to say he's not battle damaged, but he's less battle damaged. Then, next week, Detective Comics number 1000 Batman. He's also from the Rebirth era. Here's the Dark Knight's Metal Batman next to the Death Metal Batman. And then, next to the White Knight Batman, another Batman from modern comics. Here are all the different Bruce Wayne as Batman figures McFarlane has made so far in their DC Multiverse line. And I guess these guys are also Bruce Wayne as Batman in one way, shape, or form. And here he is, next to a bunch of other Target exclusive McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. There's a few more I'll be getting in the next couple weeks. The Zack Snyder's Justice League Red and Blue Superman, Armored Darkseid, and then the Suicide Squad Unmasked Peacemaker. Here he is, next to a bunch of other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's this Batman riding on the White Knight Bat Cycle. Now let's check him out, next to some other Rebirth Batman figures. Here he is, next to a couple of DC Directs, DC Essentials Rebirth Batman figures. The one on the left is DC Essentials' first Batman, and the one on the right is, I believe, their fourth Batman. They pretty much did the same thing with those two DC Direct Batman figures as these two McFarlane figures. Sort of half-assed it the first time, and then made a better release the second time. These two DC Direct figures are literally the exact same sculpt, but they got the paint job right the second time. He's got purple on the inside of the cape, very similar to McFarlane's situation. Don't get me wrong, the Rebirth Batman has been done in many different ways at this point, but this is the signature Rebirth look. Here he is, next to a DC Direct, DC Icons Rebirth Batman, and then next to a Mattel DC Multiverse Rebirth Batman. And out of these four different Rebirth Batman figures with a similar color scheme, my favorite is going to be the DC Essentials version. I do like the McFarlane one, but he's battle damaged and he's very stylized. The DC Direct one, he's a very sort of standard, regular, normal looking, iconic Rebirth Batman. Now let's check him out, next to some other action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller, and I'm going to include as many Batman figures as I can during these comparisons. Here he is, next to some of his McFarlane toy brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jakks-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles Batman figures. And here, next to some NECA Batman figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 cloth soft goods Batman figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse Batman figures. And here, next to some Mafex Batman figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts Batman figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, this is a pretty nice Batman figure, but he's very stylized. I had mixed feelings on the first Dark Knight's Metal Batman release. He's a little bit too big. He does look pretty good. I don't like the way his face looks. I don't like his neck articulation. I don't like his wrist articulation either. It's very blocked from his gauntlets. This one is definitely an improvement. None of the articulation is improved, but the paint job is so much better. His accessories are pretty good. The sculpted paint job are actually fantastic on this guy. If I were to rate this guy, probably going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.